guess. And then, but we're doing last video of Pride Month officially, but my city doesn't do the whole like Pride celebration until August. So it's the summer of Pride. I'm gonna keep making Pride videos mostly because I'm obnoxiously gay and I like that fact. And I feel like a lot of the people who watch me are. It is always comical to me every time I release a video with like Pride, especially in the title, but as like the theme, there's always like a tug of war between the gaining subscribers and the leaving subscribers, which I love. So just as like a little message to you, if you are a subscriber and you are not comfortable with LGBTQIA plus people, goodbye. I didn't need your subscription anyway. This is a very welcoming channel, and if you are not that kind of person, well, we do not need you here. So, that being said, we're doing some affirmations, because who doesn't love a couple of affirmations? Now, I was wondering how I would approach this, and I think what I might do is I might do a specifically, like, trans affirmation video, slash sort of like gender identity affirmation sort of themed video, as well as say like if there's any demand for affirmations on say any other spectrums or anything like that, then I would probably end up doing those videos. They might end up being a little bit shorter than this one, but this is going to be catch-all affirmations. These are going to be dealing with people of different sexual orientations. This is going to be dealing with people of different gender identities, people who are on their sort of transgender journey, people who are on their journey to discovering their non-binary identity, people who are gender fluid, whatever. This will sort of be a catch-all type video, and then if we need to do like a specific sexual orientation affirmations or specific gender affirmations videos, then we are completely able to do that as well. We can do basically anything under the sun. We can do intersex, we can do transgender, we can do trans non-binary, we can do, you know, I am comfortable with all of it. We can do pronouns affirmations, things like that. So that is kind of where I would like to start. Just as a little thing, you'll notice this is a member video. I activated membership features on the channel back in April. Basically, if you are part of the lower tier, you get the opportunity to either suggest or vote on a video each month, and then the sort of next tier, the flowers tier, you get the chance to suggest 2 videos each month, and I go with sort of whatever works. What was I gonna say? There was another one. Oh, then there's like little shoutouts and things like that. There's little emojis and badges and all that good stuff as well. Progress updates, because this is sort of getting towards getting the channel a Blue Yeti microphone. So that's sort of what that is. But without further ado, we are going to start with pronouns affirmations. Mostly because I think a lot of people don't recognize until they are around queer people how important pronouns are, because in sort of society we are very much conditioned and socialized to sort of recognize him and she, her as the things that we assume that people are until they tell us differently. And generally nobody is going to get upset with you. This is something that I find it so laughable when people are like, well, we don't even know what to do anymore. I mean, like, there's this, that, and the other thing, and people are identifying as this and that, and it's like, fuck off. Like, nobody is going to get, like, violently upset if somebody just quickly does a quick, what are your pronouns? Or if you do a quick, like, I can't even think of any real, like, opportunities where a lot of people are going to be, like, misgendering somebody. It happens, for sure, but I think people who are so anti-LGBTQ+, are very, like, they're all sort of worked up over nothing. It's like, this was especially back during the pandemic. There was a time when my hair was slightly longer and it was a different color. Once I got called ma'am. I personally take that as a compliment, but I just quickly, and I used to wear at Starbucks a him pin, and that person saw it and they were like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then they corrected themselves. Cool, that's fine. The problem starts when you are maliciously misgendering somebody. And I think that if you are somebody who is watching this generally curious and generally open to changing your mind about things, it is not that we are going to throw you in jail or cancel you or whatever over a misgendering, as long as you're like, "Oh, sorry about that. He would like almond milk in his latte," whatever. Then there's not many people are going to be getting upset with you. It's as soon as you start doing it maliciously and intentionally that we kind of get the temperature that you are not a safe person, and some people might get upset. It would be the same thing as if somebody continuously called you the wrong name at work. You'd be like, "Why the fuck are you doing that? I have told you, I've corrected you." That is kind of where things come from. So to all of my people who do sort of play around with pronouns, who use different pronouns, maybe on the daily, who use different pronouns, then maybe they were sort of assigned at birth. I just want you to know that the person that you choose to be, the person that you choose to present as, the person that you are, is completely and perfectly valid. The language that you use to refer to yourself is completely valid. It is, I also think, important to say that if the person that you are today does not align with the person that you are tomorrow, that is part of your self-discovery. It's such a beautiful thing, especially for somebody to come to the point of, can we try out she, her? And then a couple of weeks, months, years, decades later says, "You know what, I'm not sure that was the choice, or I'm not sure that was the thing that I am, or that's true to me." And that's perfectly valid. Everybody is a little bit stupid in a way. We don't know ourselves, and sometimes the socialization that we're given doesn't give us the tools to know ourselves. So if somebody, and this is especially for any adults who deal with young people in their life, if somebody is saying, I think we're using she, her, I think we're using they, them, and then that person comes to you and says, "You know what, maybe that wasn't it, or maybe we need to try something a little bit different, or maybe we revert back to what it was originally," that is not that person making a mistake or just engaging in a fad. That is that person being completely authentic to themselves. Nobody ever really does this to be like attention seeking or to be this, that, or the other thing. It is almost always authentic and real. There was somebody I went to high school with who, for basically an entire year, decided to use different pronouns and just try them on, basically. And it got to a point where that person was fully ready and was like, "I think transition is for me," and everybody was like, "Cool." The next year, after the summer left, not a lot of us heard from this person, and then they came back, and it was was like, you know what? I tried, and it didn't feel right on me. So we're just gonna, for now, go back to what everything used to be before we changed it up. And that is completely valid. If you are a person who has made a change and you're thinking, was that for me? Or, oh, maybe this is the change instead of that is the change. That is, again, perfectly valid. If somebody thinks lowly of you for that, know that that person does not have your best interests at heart. Your pronouns are very, very, very integral to who you are. It's how we refer to ourselves. So if you need to make a change to make yourself more comfortable or to feel more true to yourself, go for it. Absolutely. Find safe people. Find safe spaces. If you are a person who has decided that they and them fits with who you are inside, that is perfectly fine. If you get those awful people who say, well, that's plural. No, it isn't. There are contexts in which it is plural, but we also use they and them in the English language in singular formats. So, they're just trying to get down on you, I swear to God. They are just trying to make you feel less you. You are fully you, and the pronouns that you use are fantastic as long as they feel good on you, and as soon as they don't, go for it and change them. I don't want you to feel scared, especially if, like, that is something that somebody is trying to make you feel. Keep it away from that person as best you can, but please know that it does, these things improve, and I find that queer people are incredibly resilient in finding those that will be accepting to them. I do not speak to an entire half of my family because of who I am, and that will never not hurt, of course. It will never not sting in ways, but I want you to know that for me, it has worked out, that I am so much happier than I was with that side of my family in my life. There are hard choices that we do have to make, and I hope that you don't have to make them. I hope that if there are people in your life who are resistant, especially that are close to you, I honestly, I would just, I cross my fingers every day that people come around, that at least one person comes around. If you are a parent of somebody watching who does use different pronouns than maybe you are accustomed to, give that person leeway. Give that person space. Give that person respect, and use those pronouns. Do not get into this whole, well, it's more comfortable for me, or I know them as this, or you're my daughter, not my whatever. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. You and that person have a relationship for sure, but whoever they feel they are, whoever they are, is who you need to respect, and you need to be calling them by their chosen name, and you need to be calling them by their pronouns. You need to respect these people, and if you are one of these people, amazing. You are wonderful. Generally, you are the lights in our community. I find that people who are gender non-conforming, especially in the queer spaces that I participate in, are on far and away the nicest people I have ever met, and they are the kindest people. I also find that going through sort of journeys with gender and identity and things like that and expression often makes somebody a lot more empathetic to others. Just know that the person that you are, the difference that you exhibit, brings so much color and light and life into people's worlds. You have so much capacity for empathy because you have had to learn how to empathize with yourself. yourself. You have had to learn how to reintroduce yourself to yourself in certain cases. I know when I came out as gay, the first person I came out to was myself, because my mom did a great job of making me feel like that was an option, that a boy could just also like boys and not just girls and things like this. But I found that there was a point in time where I had to be like, hey Ryan, this is Ryan. Ryan is gay. And I would be like, oh wow, okay, cool. I remember the moment really, really vividly. And so I think that in this sort of like journey that people go through with their gender, there is so much opportunity to get more in touch with yourself and to give yourself so much space and leeway, and especially to unlearn a lot of the things that we are taught to dislike about ourselves. And I don't know, I just think that gender nonconformity is such a wonderful thing, and it is absolutely real, and it's absolutely valid. Never tell yourself that it's not. Never tell others that it's not. These things, gender nonconformity, two-spirited identities, all of it have been around for thousands of years. It just so happens that in the current Eurocentric context of the world, we are just sort of rediscovering that it's okay to be this way. But truthfully, people have been transgendered, people have been living lives of outside of the gender binary for thousands of years. As long as humans have been around, as long as we have had identities to assume, we have been feeling differently about them, and that's perfectly fine. And just for anybody who uses different pronouns, I hope so hard that it goes as well for you as it does for so many people, because I want to emphasize that this does go well for people. Oftentimes, especially in certain regions, and especially with certain families, it does not feel right, and it does not feel real, and it does not feel valid. But I promise you it does. It will be incredibly difficult sometimes, but I want you to survive through it. We have so many people these days who are growing, who are getting the opportunity to grow old in these identities, and that's not something that we could say necessarily before. And I want you to be one of those people who does, because you deserve that, and you deserve to grow old as the person that you truly are, not the person that people tell you you have to be, or that you were born as, or whatever. You are not that person. If you don't feel that, you are not. Your feelings about yourself take precedence over anybody else's feelings about you, especially the language with which you refer to yourself, using things like he and him, and then he and they, or possibly they and them, or going all the way across the binary to she and her, or busting it up in general. You need to do what is right for you. That is how people like us achieve happiness. Being ourselves is how we achieve happiness. Everybody else is allowed to. So you should be too. It is not unique to you that you deserve to suffer not being who you are. Everybody else deserves that, so you deserve it as well. Please keep telling yourself this. It is integral that we start equipping, especially queer youth, with the language and with the sort of tools to introduce themselves to themselves, and to understand that that is normal and okay, and that it is something that they can be out in the world. Because I think so much of the reason why all of these disgusting transphobes and homophobes are out of the vocabulary and the worldviews of children so that those children will grow up, feel ashamed of themselves, and then we all know what happens after that. So it's dangerous to us. We need to tell children that it is okay to be themselves so that eventually when they start asking themselves questions about this, that they know that it's okay. And I just want you to know that if you are a youth who is questioning something about yourself, do it. We all made stupid decisions as kids. We all made different identity decisions as kids. So you should be allowed to too. You should be allowed to change your name. If you need to switch it up, try it for a month. If you need to switch your pronouns, try it for a month among your friend group. Try it. You will not know if it is right for you unless you try it. If there's something in there that feels different, that feels like you are a certain way, you owe it to yourself to try that on. A lot of people will tell you that you shouldn't or that you can't, and those people are wrong and they're assholes. You absolutely should be able to, and you can do it. And if it turns out that that is who you are, you gave yourself the leeway to do that, and you didn't stifle that in the way that some people would have you do. And that is a great act of resistance. It's a great act of liberation. It's so important that we let people be who they are and refer to themselves as who they are. And specifically, if you are transgender, please do not let somebody tell you, you don't look feminine enough. You don't look masculine enough. You need this surgery and that surgery. You need these hormones and those hormones. Your trans journey is yours. If it is medical, awesome. If it is social, if it is expressive, if it is any combination of those, your transgender journey is exactly what it should be for you. If you need to shave your head, if you need to grow it out, if you need to wear makeup, if you need to experiment with clothing, if you want to buy that skirt, buy that skirt. If you want to wear the pantsuit, wear the pantsuit to prom. Be you. Because I guarantee you that you will be a happier person and you will be a fuller person when you allow yourself to be that way. And especially if you don't listen to the people who say, well, you can't be this, you can't be that. That's not how that works. You can be this, you can be that, you can be both of them, you can be neither at the same time. You need to be you. Flat. I think that especially there is such a push to be something and just and live within that, and I love a label, trust me, but sometimes they don't work. So if transgender is working for you, go with that. If trans non-binary is working with you, if non-binary is working for you, if agender is working for you, go with it. And if none of those words really fits, don't use them. You could be an androgynous person, and you can refer to yourself as the name that you need and the pronouns that you need at that current time, without having to put a label on it, without needing the surgery, without needing this, that, or the other thing. You can be who you need to be without people putting expectations on you, whether or not that is transphobic people who are actively telling you that you can't be this way, or whether or not it's people within the community itself who try to define these things as you are only transgender if XYZ. No. You are transgender if you are transgender. That's the thing. You can be a person who looks a certain way, and people will assume that, oh, well, that's what that person wants to be. Who gives a shit? No. You are who you need to be for yourself. I think plus a little bit. It's not necessarily that I'm against labels. I am openly a person who calls myself asexual, even though I have mixed feelings on what that means for me. I find the label helpful, but on that sort of like asexual sort of spectrum, who knows what I truly am? I really don't know, and that's just part of me introducing myself to myself. That's kind of what life is just journeying towards a fuller sense of self-acceptance and knowing yourself. So I would say whoever you are, if it's working for you, it's working for you. And if you choose to put a label on it, and if you do not choose to put a label on it, go for it. I fully support you, and you will have a safe space here. As for the people who have sort of differences with their sexual orientation, if you are a gay person, if you are a lesbian, if you are bisexual, if you are pansexual, you are all valid. Your love is your love, and your love is gorgeous and beautiful. I say that probably if somebody were to ask a meaning of life in sort of the human context, I would probably say that love is pretty far up there, because I think when you see somebody loving the person that they love so truly, and being able to do that, it is probably one of the coolest things that you can ever see or experience. Like, just the safety that a human can find in another human is so... there's not a word for it. And I think that as, like, a community, we are more hyper-aware of what love is and what love means and what it can be, because we are often told that we cannot love. But in defying that, I think we offer society a chance to redefine what love can be and what love is, especially if we're talking about that whole like concept of found family. I am a person, I'm an only child, and often in my life I have turned a lot of my friends into siblings, and I have had a lot of trouble with friends who I have had fallings out with previously after high school, and that causes me to pull back from people a lot. And redefining what that found family is, me finding siblings within my friends, finding a family within my friends, I think that's really important, especially for queer people to do, because sometimes it can be an isolating existence. So I think we are a lot more aware of that, and we are able to sort of love and accept and welcome in a much more full and honest way than I think a lot of people who are socialized and who are heterosexual can. Not that I'm saying that straight love is invalid or anything like that, or heterosexuality is invalid. It is not invalid. I think that society does a good job of communicating that, but I think that society also doesn't do a good job of communicating this idea of safety and family and what love, the depths of love can be. And I think that the queer community offers society a chance to redefine things like that. So if you are a person who does have sort of a non-heterosexual orientation, I think that we are a gorgeous group of people, that we offer such a sort of beautiful image of what love can be, of how love can transform and how it can build community and how it can heal people. And I don't know, I think that we are such good sort of pillars of societal evolution and turning society into such a bright community and such a colorful community, and we offer so much vibrance, specifically because we have people out there telling us that we cannot be us. So we have to be us in the most out there way possible. And I think that's where some people get the perception of like, well, they're shoving it in our faces. They're like doing this, that, and the other thing, and whatever. Because they just can't stand people being happy. They can't stand people saying, we are ourselves and we love it. Because that is controversial in some circles to say. And I think being controversial, being sort of loud and different and weird is, again, the best way that we can liberate ourselves, because we're not going away anytime soon. I cannot imagine ever having to go back into a closet. You'd have to drag me kicking and screaming, and even then it's like you can't tone this down. But I think it's just wonderful to be a part of the community that we are, and I think that if you're struggling with that, that is completely valid. But please know that you being who you are is the best thing that you can be, if that makes sense. It is sort of the best thing that you can do for yourself. It's the best thing that you can do for the people around you, and it makes the world a better place. We make the world a better place. It is the same way that diversity among culture and ethnicity and religion makes the world a better place. We fit into that tapestry as well. Nobody will ever tell us different, and we are not ever going to be cut out of that tapestry, because we know how to resist and we know how to fight for ourselves and each other. And if you are a queer person, I do also hope that you are, in your own little ways, fighting for liberation. You are working towards greater acceptance and things like this. So, all of that being said, I know this is a little bit more of an unconventional sort of affirmations video, but if I ever do an affirmations video, I want to say the things that I know that I need to hear either in that moment or I have at one point in my life. And if somebody were to have given me this lecture back when I was going through what I was going through with that one half of my family, I think I could have saved myself a couple years of sadness, but I'm happy that I went through that, because that turned me into the person that you see today, and the person who is equipped to tell people this kind of stuff and equipped to sort of bring this kind of energy into the world. So, if you are queer, happy Pride Month. If you are queer, you are wonderful. Please know this. You are likely the best person that your friends know. We're just like that. We're just a community like that. Please know that you have every right to be who you are, and that even if it isn't like it today, one day you will be happy and allowed to be what you are and who you are and who you feel you are. That being said, I love all of you. We are a community of immense love. That does not change here on this channel. If you are somebody who needs to hear this, if you know somebody who needs to hear this, please get it to them. Please listen to this over and over and over again. Again, I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for bringing light and color and beauty into this world. Thank you, 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 and the night, 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 the night. Happy Pride. Love yourself. If you don't love yourself, I'm gonna do it for you. Just kidding. That's so stupid. I'm leaving that in.